Hey guys, so today's video will be on how to create a homepage for a website. So as you can see, this is one that I just created in 10 minutes. So this is a homepage, and it's a full screen homepage, should I say. It's got your full screen background image, it's got your white heading, and it's got your button as well, and the button is animated as well, so when you hover over it, it highlights, and when you click off, it obviously de-highlights. So if you visit websites regularly, you know that this is kind of what's trendy, you know, a nice background with white writing and, you know, a nice interactive button. So this is what we're going to make today. So I just made this like 10 minutes ago. So this is what we're going to try to recreate basically. So this is my HTML file, and this is my CSS file of what I've just made. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through what I've done. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put these side by side. Alright, now we're going to create a new HTML file. I'm just gonna have these as a reference because there are some stuff I'm gonna just copy and paste. I'm just being honest with you because I won't be I can't be bothered to write them out again. Okay, so we're gonna start with our head tags. Okay, I will make a new video. Sorry, we'll just call this example2.html. I will make another video talking more about the proper structure of a HTML document, but for now this is just going to be, you know, a quick video, so we won't go into that too much. Okay, so our head tags, we want our body tags, head tags, our body tags, and what we want to do is we want to yeah, this is when I'm going to copy and paste. But yeah, you need your link to your CSS. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is for your CSS to work, you always need this link rel link. Okay, link rel tag rather. So link rel style sheet. So that's basically telling your document that this is a CSS style sheet. The type is obviously text/CSS format, and your link to your CSS file will be here. So we're going to create a new page. We're going to call this example2.css, and we're going to change this here to example2. Now notice that ignore all of these. Notice that my example2 HTML document and my example2 CSS are both in the same folder. If they are not in the same folder, your web page will not work. It will not link properly because they need to be in the same folder so they can call on each other. Okay, so we've successfully put those in the same folder. Now we want to create our huge, beautiful background. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new section. And before we even begin to put anything in the section, we want to close the section. Okay, it's very important to always close your HTML tags, otherwise it messes up the document. Okay, so this is section again, closing section rather, and we won't actually, because this is our background, we're not actually going to put anything in the section for now. Okay, we want to just style the background. So here we're going to call, this is now our CSS folder. We're going to call on the section. Okay, as you can see, we've got our section tags here. So in the CSS folder, all you need to call it as is section. Okay, so section here, and we're going to say background image background image URL brackets speech marks closing brackets semicolon. Before we actually put our picture in, let me just talk you through what I've done. I'll try and make it really quick. So our section is here. This is basically saying this is the section, I want the background image to be, and then we will include our link in between these speech marks. Okay, now as you can see in my folder, I already have what my image is going to be, and as you can see, it's saved in the same folder as my HTML document and my CSS documents as well. Every single thing in your web page has to be saved in the same folder. Okay, and by the way, if you're wondering why this is called Coffee Shop, it's because I've been making a coffee shop website for my friend, so I just had to quickly copy the structure of the document to this one. Okay, so the background image, as you can see, it's called billboard in my folders. So I'm gonna type in billboard.jpg. Okay, billboard.jpg, and if we run this in Google Chrome, it's not going to show. Okay, sorry, I ran the wrong file. You need to run the HTML document rather than the CSS. Okay, so as you can see, we've got nothing as of yet, but you want to set a height. So our height will be 100 VH. Now what this means is 100 viewers height. So it means that any device that your website is viewed on, it will be a full screen height. Okay, I really advise people not to use pixels, because you know what could be 300 pixels on my laptop could be 50 pixels on a bigger screen. So if you're using pixels, you're basically only designing for one type of device. So it's much more sensible to use viewers height. So 100 views height. Now it will show. Okay, this is what we have so far. Then we want to, as you can see, we haven't got the full image, so we're going to set the background size to cover. This will cover the entire screen, as you can see. We're then going to set the background position to the center, so we have our image centered. There we go. So this is how our image looks so far, our background. Just to give you a bit of context, the website will be kind of an adventure, traveling, log cabin kind of website. So I've really gone for, the green theme and white, and it really does stand out, and the tree background does look quite stunning against the text. So this is what we have so far. Now, as you can see, we have a white border around the edges, which we really don't want. So what we're going to do is we're going to push this down, press our enter key. We're going to call on the body and the HTML document. Okay, to do that, to call on two things at the same time, you just need to separate them with a comma. And by the way, this file will be available in the description. So if you're not understanding what I'm saying, then you will be able to just download the file and kind of play with it yourself. And I'm hoping for the rest of my videos I can just provide the files for you all as well. Okay, so the body and HTML file tags rather, we're just going to set a margin of 0 and a padding of 0. And what this means is we don't want any margins or any paddings whatsoever. We can't stand margins and paddings. So we don't want it. Okay, and as you can see, now it's given a lovely full view of the page. Okay, now that's sorted, our background is sorted. So now we want to concentrate on getting our heading in rather. So we want to create our H1 tags. By the way guys, because I'm doing this quite quickly, I'm not using my indenting and structuring the page as well as I should be, to be honest. But when I provide this in the description, it will be well structured, and obviously, like I said, I will be creating another video on how to properly structure and format a page. I'm just kind of showing you, the elements and shortcuts and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so we want to create our heading. So we use our H1 tags. You've got H1 to H5 tags. H5 is the smallest, H1 is the biggest. But you can change the size of any, so it's basically the same. So we want to have our tags see the world. Then underneath we want to create our button, which will say explore, and we want to obviously end our tags. As you can see, everything on my document is ended. Okay, the head tags are ended apart from the link, the body tags are ended, the section tags are ended, the H1 tags are ended, the button tags are ended, if I hadn't already said that. Okay, so if we refresh this, we can see that here we now have our two elements. But of course we don't want to have it scared and hidden in the corner. We want to center it and make it look beautiful like this. So what we want to do is we want to center it now. So to center it, there's a beautiful tool called Flexbox. It's quite recent, and you know, in the old days of web design, it would be such, you know, a daunting task to kind of try to center elements, but you know, Flexbox has now come around and it's really kind of changed the way we can position elements for the better. So we want to display flex, so that's just basically saying I am now going to use flex for this positioning. Then we want to justify content center, then align items center. What this is saying is your y-axis, I want it to be centered, my x-axis, I want it to be centered. Wonderful. So as you can see, we've centered both of these items, but obviously we want our button to be underneath the heading, so we're just going to change the flex direction. Now the default flex direction for HTML is in a row, okay, that's why this is on the right, but our flex direction, we're going to change it to column, and this will now be stacked underneath. Beautiful and perfect. Okay, right, so now we want to kind of start to style our page, our headings. So what we want to do is we want to call on the head1 tag, we want to change the font size, let's try 80 pixels, we want to change the color to a nice pure white, and that is pretty much it for now. Okay, if you refresh our page, you can see this is now big, it's bold, and yeah, that's just what we want. I think I'm gonna put this on 70, which is what I think this one was. Okay, so now we want to style the button. So as you can see on this one, our button has a transparent background. We've changed the font completely, we've completely thinned out the borders. It gives a really professional, sleek and fresh modern look. So that's the look we're going to go for on this one as well. So to remove the border, the background, we're going to say background color, and we're going to have it as transparent. Okay, so what that does is it completely gets rid of the background, and yeah, which is just what we want. We then want to change the color of the font, which will be white. Okay, now as you can see, if I just zoom in here, our border has two colors, and we don't want that. Okay, we just want it to be a solid color. So to get that effect, we're going to say border style, and we're gonna solidify it. Okay, now it's completely solid, but our border is still thick and we don't want it to be thick, so we're gonna say border width, and we're gonna change that to 1 pixel rather, and it's gonna be beautiful and thin like this. Now we want to increase the font of our text. Let's try 16 pixels. So that's gotten bigger if we look at this. Yeah, so that's pretty much what we want. Now you can see that our text and our border is way too squashed, and we want to, you know, add some padding like we have over here. We want some white space. So what the padding will do is just add some white space around around the text and the border. Okay, so we're gonna say we're gonna have our 4 elements, or attributes rather: padding top, padding bottom, padding left, and our padding right. Okay, so it's very self-explanatory. If I added padding of 50 pixels to the top only, you can see that the top has 50 pixels of space, but we won't do that. We're just going to add padding top. We're going to go for 10 pixels because I think it always looks better when the left and right padding is more than the top. And for this one, we're going to go for 30 pixels. You see, this looks beautiful. Now, I just love web design, so when I call things beautiful and amazing, I'm just genuinely excited. But yeah, so we have explore here. I think I've added a bit more padding to this one. So let's try, I don't think it was 50. I'm trying not to look at the other HTML document. Yeah, 50 is just way too large. So actually, no, I think 50 is fine for now, to be honest. Okay, so we've added our padding. As you can see, the button looks much more attractive. If I was to delete all of this styling for the button and refresh it, you can see, okay, sorry. You can see that it just looks ugly, looks old, not modern, not fresh. But now I've added the styling, it looks really clean. So now we want to change our fonts. Now, for all of you who, you know, you're not really familiar with fonts, there are web safe fonts which you can use for HTML, and they will appear on every single device the same. That's why they're called web safe fonts. It's kind of the industry standard fonts that will be installed on every single Windows computer. Unfortunately for us web developers and designers, that kind of limits our creativity and limits the amount of fonts we can use. However, we have a really beautiful tool called Google Fonts. And what Google Fonts is, it's a font hosting website run by Google, obviously, and they have a load of fonts which you can install onto your computer. Okay, and because they host it, and it's hosted on an online cloud storage software, it will appear the same on every single website. As long as the website is running, it will appear the same. And they literally have a mirage, is that the right word? Whatever. They literally have so many fonts, so many fonts, and you know, you can filter them, you can really do a lot. Yeah, but I'll go into detail more about this in another video. So I already have a font that I used for for the original version, so I will just copy that from here. Okay, so how Google Fonts works is, if you want a font, so let's just use this as an example, you just go on the website and then you type in how you want your text to look. Then you just click this add button, select fonts, you click on this, then this is a link. Okay, this is a link that you have to copy. You copy this link and you need to paste it into the head section of your HTML document. Okay, paste it into the head section, and then in the font family section, which we're going to add here, so our button, we're going to change the font family of our button, font family, actually no, rather you just copy and paste this part. Okay, so as you can see here in my CSS file for the original one, I already have my font family here of Open Sans, which is the font I got off Google originally. So all I have to do is copy that in here. Okay, so for this to work, you always need to have your link in your head section. Your head section is basically kind of the invisible back end of your website that keeps it running, you know. But again, I will go through that in another video. So I have my Open Sans software Open Sans font for my my button. So as you can see, this will now change to Open Sans. It just looks amazing. It looks clean, it looks thin, it looks fresh. Wow. Okay, this is really the beauty of web design, because anything you envision within reason really can come to life, and it really is wonderful. So we've changed our we actually got the button spot on, which is cool. Yeah, so we've changed the button fonts and we've styled the button completely. So now we just want to change the font of our heading, and it's really the exact same method for the heading as well. I'm just going to quickly get the font that I used off my HTML file. Okay, so that was Open Sans. So I used here Lato, but I'm not sure as to where the Lato has gone. Okay, so in fact what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through putting it manually for you. Okay, so here is our Google Fonts. I already know which font I want in mind, but I'm just going to go through it step by step. So my text here says, we don't need this anymore, we're good. My text here says see the world, so I want to kind of preview how that's going to look with the fonts. So I'm going to put right here see the world, and now I'm going to click apply to all fonts. Okay, now I don't want a monospace font, so I'm going to unclick that. I don't want handwriting, I don't want a serif, I don't want display, I want sans serif, which is nice clean corners, modern. And Lato is a font that we wanted, but I want it to be quite thick, like our original file that I made. Sorry, I'm messing up. Okay, yeah, here we are. I want it to be really nice and thick like this. So I'm going to click here, thickness. This is my first video, so please excuse my shiftiness. I am not nervous, but I'm just new to this. Okay, because when I'm using my laptop, I'm normally just using it for me. But yeah, so we've clicked our thickness, and you can kind of change, you know, the kind of thickness that you want, and it will bring out the, you know, fonts that correlate to that. So we're going to click add. This is the thickness that we want. We're happy with this. Now we're going to copy this link rather, and put it in our head parts of our document. Okay, and for our CSS, we're going to copy this attributes, and we're going to paste it under our H1 section. Okay, so just a reminder, we're calling on our H1 tag in our HTML section. Okay, H1 here is the styling for this H1. We have our buttons here, we're styling them here. Our section is here, and we're styling, yeah, our section's here, sorry, and we're styling it here. Okay, so now if we refresh our page, we will see that we have changed the fonts. Okay, now this looks beautiful. It really looks quite similar to this one. I think I went for a thicker font on the original one, but I actually kind of like this one, you know. Actually, yeah, this is actually the the Google Fonts one. I completely forgot to use Google Fonts on this. I thought I did. This is actually just sans serif, the font. But yeah, so this is See the World. This looks really beautiful, and it's really not that hard, you know, when you kind of know what you're doing, and if you just follow everything, it's really not difficult at all. You know, just make sure your document is neat. I'm not really the great example for that right now, but just make sure your document is neat, and you know, just call on everything correctly, and you know, it will style. It's just kind of getting the hang of it. So as you can see, we have our See the World, we have our Explore button. So we want this highlight as this one does, okay? And CSS really gives us a good base for that with the transition tools, okay? Okay, so what's gonna happen is we want the cursor to become a pointer when we hover over this, because as you can see, it's a button, so when you hover over it, to make it more interactive, you kind of want to feel like you've actually hovered over something. So we're gonna come to our CSS file, call on the button, but this time we're gonna call on it in our hover feature. So button : hover, okay? Obviously we have our curly brackets. Then this is when we're going to change the attributes, okay? We're going to say cursor becomes a pointer. If we save that and refresh this, you can now see that when I hover over it, rather than it staying the sharp cursor, it becomes, you know, the nicer, cute little finger, okay? Which is exactly what we want. So we've changed that. Now what we want to do is we want to highlight it. So we will now use our transition tools in our button element. So transition, we want, okay, in fact, before I put in the transition here, what I want this to do is I want to change the background, okay? So when you hover over it, I want the background color to be white, and I want the color of the text to be black, okay? So as you can see, it does that now, but it has no special effects, nothing wow. So we're gonna add the wow now, okay? So we're going to say transition, then we want our background color to transition 1 second. We want our color to also be 1 second. So if you refresh that, as you can see, it transitions nicely into the background color white and into the black text, okay? So your hover is basically, your button hover section here is basically everything that you want your button to do when it's hovered over. So we have the basics, we have it to turn into a pointer, we have it to change the background color white, and to make the text legible by changing it to black also. Your transition here will basically kind of tell your document how to act. So it will transition into the white background, transition into the black text. So as you can see, we've pretty much hit everything bang on that we had for our original document. And it just kind of goes to show that when you know how to web design, you know, when you're experienced, you can kind of look at a web page. Someone can just hand you a web page and say, can you please recreate this for me? And you can look at it and say, you know, yeah, I can, you know, I can do this. So this is kind of, the new trend really. All websites kind of, not all, but a lot of websites have, you know, the nice, beautiful background. Then they have, you know, the heading. Then they have the button, you know, centered nicely. And that's it really. So this was my tutorial on creating a, what's it called? Yeah, a homepage. If you guys like this video, do let me know, and we can kind of use this as our project to expand on. So if you like the video, what I can do is I can create subsequent ones, but I can start adding things like the header bar, navigation bar. I can add more pages, I can add more sections. I can kind of show you how to create, you know, a fixed transparent header. You know, we can kind of really play around with this. So if you guys did like this tutorial, do let me know. I'm very, very passionate about web design. I love designing websites. And I kind of want you guys to have a stress-free experience while designing it. So I kind of try to make it as fun and as simple as possible. So, you know, this is really all we needed. We just needed 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of our code, our section here, and everything really just comes in with the styling. You know, and just to kind of see how far I've come, I like to delete all of my styling just to see how the page would look if I didn't have any styling. And this is how the page would look. You know, this is literally just it, and it kind of shows the power of CSS. And this is what we have. So yeah, do let me know if you guys like this tutorial, if it helped you out. If you have any questions, please do put it in the comments below. I will also put my Twitter link in the description, my Instagram link. You know, I have to kind of plug the socials. Follow me, and I probably will make some videos about me, like my name, my age, all that kind of stuff. But I need to know that you guys like this video first of all. I'm sorry if my voice has been a bit mumbly or croaky. I actually don't know how to speak, and you're gonna learn that pretty soon. But what you will have coming to my channel is really good tutorials, someone teaching you who loves web design. I'm always here to help you kind of create anything that you need. I will try my hardest if I can. And you know, we're gonna have a lot of fun on this channel with web design. I think I have a really good eye for creativity, really good eye for kind of good homepages and just good websites in general. And I think what a lot of the other channels don't offer a lot of the time is good looking websites. You know, their method and strategy is all good, but you know, the aesthetics is not great. But I think that's where I come in, and I kind of love aesthetics and I love things to look good. Okay, I've talked enough, so let me know if you like this, and we will have loads more tutorials. We'll have a proper video and kind of introduction to HTML, CSS, the structure, how to create beautiful, good looking websites, tips, you know, videos about me and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, do let me know in the comments. If you have any questions about this video, let me know. The file link will be in the description, available to download. So please, you feel free to download that, play around with this, you know, change your background, change the size, change the font color, you know, anything you want to do with the file. And if you actually do manage to kind of make this look really amazing on your terms, then, you know, do feel free to send me a screenshot, send me the file, so I can kind of see what you've done and how good it looks and all that kind of stuff, so we can really help each other. Because I want, you know, web design can be very, very strenuous, so I kind of want this to be a nice place that you can come and, you know, and chill. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and see you on the next one.